Stop the cap.
First off, Tezlyn Figaro is not light skinned. She is a garden variety African American black woman. That is what she is. I don't know what type of lighting they had on the Revolt TV. There's a bunch of sisters that are trying to like, it's a light skinned woman. She's mixed. She's this. I don't know where she got her name from. Go watch the interview on the Breakfast Club. This is a garden variety African American black woman. Okay, collard greens, freaking pork rinds, chitlins, and hog moss. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can stop with that bullshit. No, what's happened is, some of the women, or the women that are trying to like run away from this just awful display of behavior on the Revolt News about the whatever the debate that they were having about politics, which didn't even get there because there was so much just childish it wasn't even a back and forth. It was just her trying to dominate the space, on some typical hood shit. For me, it was the mommying. And this goes in, I don't even have to say too much because I posted the other sister that made a video about it. Pink Book Lessons made a video about it. But the one I posted on my community tab, I mean, she got it. Right away, she got it. It was like, yeah, you want to wonder why all these brothers that you see at the NBA draft and the NFL draft got white girls on their arm or some other race of woman? This is why. Like I said in my previous video, I didn't even see, this video before I made, my other video about the audacity to be surprised. I was in response, to one of these female trolls that come on my page and, they come and they say what they say. They think they, I done read SWP his rights. And I'm like, no, you have not. You've actually exposed yourself, which is why you find yourself saying crazy shit. And then 5 minutes later, you try to take down the comment. I'm like, no, I've learned to save the comments. I save the comments when people talk crazy and write crazy, because that's how you really feel. Then when you realize how crazy it is, then you're like, oh, let me delete the comment. No. Y'all sisters have been doing that shit for way too long. You got to get a little bit earlier than that. You know what I mean? But no, that woman is insufferable. And insufferable is the word. She's insufferable. And it like I said, it's the mommying for me. It's that big mama, calling everybody baby, treating everybody like this is a bunch of grown ass people treating everybody like they're a child. And this is what black men can't stand. They can't tolerate. You know what I mean? What type of sons do you think that she's going to produce? You think she's going to produce some strong sons? I'll try to look and see whether she was married. It doesn't look to be. She looks to be somebody's, baby mama. But that woman is insufferable. She looks like the type of woman that a motherfucker that's in the streets, thinks is cute. Maybe when she was a lot younger and a lot smaller. Because on the Breakfast Club, she looks like a big back, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I could see her fucking with some like Atlanta rappers or, going to brunch, those brunches and shit like that, right? And you can tell I'm a boss babe, I'm a big dog, like just the masculine energy just all over the place. It's disgusting. And at this point, it's like, I don't know why anybody's surprised when you either see black men or you hear black men elevating other races of women and talking about, what they like about other races of women, when, this is what black men have been dealing with. And I can calmly talk about it because, it's on full display. It can't be denied anymore. We got this whole thing with the Democratic Party, and I saw one black woman. She was giving an interview, and they asked her because they're like, because the Democratic Party emasculates black men. That's why you got. And I called this shit years ago. You can go. Well, actually, you can't go because I'm in purgatory right now. But I'm saying, that old Trump video that I had, I said that shit. I said, that Donald Trump's going to get like 30% of the black vote. You know what I mean? And black men, are more open to voting for Donald Trump, not because they particularly care for Donald Trump. The whole point is to buck the Democrat Party that has done nothing for black people. I mean, they just literally just playing in your faces. You got resources going to people who showed up in the country, ain't been here for 5 minutes. Black people have been suffering through, Jim Crow and discrimination and marginalization, and haven't gotten reparations for slavery. But yet some people, Jose, shows up from across the border from Venezuela 5 minutes ago, and all of a sudden they throwing resources around. Right? Same thing with the Asian community hate crime bill. Oh, we can get that done. Black people are the top of the FBI statistics when it comes to being victims of hate crime. No hate crime bill. They're playing in your faces. And you got, all these black feminists running around trying to shame black men. Democrat Party has nothing for black men. As, was appropriate stated. I forget what the brother's name was that was up there. But like he said, like it's separated black men, from, the black, the black family, right? The ability to provide, right? Doesn't pay attention to the needs of black men. Right, got no resources coming towards black men, it's such a fucked up place, to be in, where, you're every year or every couple of years they call, oh, you gotta vote, oh, because the Republicans are the party of the white supremacists, right? Which by and large they are, right? But they tell you, oh, you gotta come out and vote, got nothing for you, right? Then you're beat over the head, you're used as this scapegoat. Right? Oh, black men in jail, and black men, they commit crimes. Oh, black women, you so strong and independent. Right? Had no resources allocated for black men to correct anything. The feminism won't even allow you to correct anything. They don't want it. So you be wasting your time and energy. Yeah, they want your resources. If you are able to, get resources and provide. Yeah, they don't want you. They don't want to see you leave the community. They don't want to see you go anywhere, but they damn sure don't want to see your ass leading or calling the shots. You got the Democrat Party full of a bunch of sassy niggas and a bunch of overbearing, masculine, single, lonely, bitter, typically older black women, that are all about, black female empowerment and getting bag. And it's so cringe. There's nothing there for us. I already said that. Ain't shit over there if you a black man, and it's sad because it's not like the Republicans got anything for black people, but again, black men do have to show their dissatisfaction with the Democrat Party. It's I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I can't say all black women are going, because Antoine did a couple videos where he showed sisters that were they wasn't with it. They on the same page as, the Be First, Black Roots, populations out here that are nah, where's our goddamn tangibles? You want our vote is in exchange for some goddamn tangibles. All this voting for the Democrats and not demanding or asking or requesting anything, man, the fuck out of here. But see, you got a lot of black women that are no, this is our time to shine. This is our time to, run off with female empowerment. And if you don't support, this biracial woman, that any other day of the week should be a light-skinned bitch, that's because you're just a misogynist and hate women or some shit like that, right? We fell for that shit with Obama, right? Obama, again, everybody owes Cornel West and Tavis Smiley an apology, because they called the shit out when it was they were on Obama's ass from day one. Hey, man, we had the coalition, everybody came out, voted for you, and you ain't done a damn thing for the black community. You up there talking about, LGBTQ, what's up with all this gay shit? And so that's all you see on MSNBC is a bunch of sassy gay niggas and a bunch of black, man-hating feminists. That's all you see. And you wonder why black men are not supporting, the Democrat Party. Then you got this shit with abortion. The biggest issue right now is the economy and housing. That is the biggest issue right now, right? And yet the Democrats come through again, not offering anything. This rising tides lifts all boats bullshit. Like, oh, abortion isn't a black issue; it's an everybody issue, right? I don't like when brothers like the brother up there talking about, the problem is people having sex before marriage and people bringing up God. God ain't got nothing to do with none of this shit. The Christians coming out. I saw the two black women up there arguing about Christianity. Look, if you don't, I feel the same way that you do without invoking the Bible, right? At the end of the day, I don't think that a child should experience being, dismembered or have their oxygen cut off, because, two people were sexually irresponsible. Right. I'm incensed at the idea of people using abortions like contraception. OK, I know of women who've had at least 9 abortions. OK, just sexual irresponsibility. and I don't think you need to invoke God or Jesus. You know how I feel about that shit. I'm an atheist. Don't believe in any of that shit. I look at you guys funny. We are descendant of West African people, Europeans, right? Even though we can argue Christianity, supposedly came out of the Middle East, and then the first Christians were Ethiopian. That's East Africa. We're West African. We got our version of Christianity from white Europeans. Their shit is so twisted. They gave us the slave Bible. If you don't believe me, go on Wikipedia and type in the slave Bible. It'll come right up. They took all the passages out of there, of liberation and freedom and shit like that, and just left you with the obey your earthly masters type part. I don't know why you guys keep bringing up Christianity. I don't know why black people give that a whole bunch of respect. It's a bunch of bullshit. At the end of the day, might makes right, and money rules the world. If you ain't got no money, your community is going to be fucked up, and you're going to have all these problems. Black people running around always talking about white Jesus, and the black community has the highest homicide rate, some of the highest abortion rates, the highest rate of crime, right? The lowest quality of life out of any of these groups in America. And yet y'all want to run around and talk about Jesus that you got from the very group of people that oppressed you. At the end of the day, if Christianity was that powerful, white people would have never given it to you, right? Oh, you can have all the churches that you want on every corner in the inner city that you can possibly have. Oh, but when it comes to them reparations, oh no, y'all can't have that. We got to make sure that doesn't go through. When it comes to y'all having access to firearms and everything, oh no, we got to increase the fees, like in states like New Jersey, where it costs $200 to apply for the permit, an application for a carry permit, plus $100 for fingerprinting, right? Plus another $100 for your firearms ID card, right? All that is designed to keep guns out of the hands of black people, even though the people that would go through the extensive background checks are not the problematic black people that would engage in criminal activity. You see, I don't pay attention to what white people give me. I pay attention to what they deny me. And what they deny me is access to capital and access to firearms. But y'all running around talking about white Jesus. Hold on, let me get my damn food real quick. All right. Yeah, y'all be sitting around. Hold on. Delicious. Y'all be sitting around arguing over who's got the best Sky Daddy. It's a waste of time. Waste of time. I mean that whole I can't even call it a debate. That woman had the narcissistic ego of Donald Trump. It's like, how like Donald Trump, when you talk about how big the crowd side was, like Donald Trump just loses all concentration. And then, I had the biggest, the bestest, the greatest, It's like, and that's what that, that ego, that Tezlyn had. But no, that there's nothing surprising about her. That's what we've been complaining about. That's what we talk about when we talk about the bad attitudes. That's what we talk. I mean, you can't get a word in. I mean, she's putting in the word. Even when the other brother, there was a brother in the background that got on the microphone, and I'm so glad when she was like, "I'm done with you. I'm done talking to you," or whatever. He just walked away. That's all you can do. Just walk away. I mean, arguing with somebody like that it's pointless. And I'm saying him walking away. It wasn't just him walking away. It's like him walking away is symbolic of the collective of black men and how they feel about, you know, dealing with, black women. Her behavior is way more common than black women want to give credence to. It's way more common. And this is what we talk about. And then you got the Democrat Party that, likes to elevate, these type of personalities. Right? I don't know what Revolt TV, did he own that? Right? I don't know what's going on. Did he step off the board? Right? I don't know what's going on in that. But, there's all these stupid ass ideas of, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be any sort of like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like decorum, like, sort of like what Cosby tried to do with the Cosby Show, where you want to be depicted a certain way. But black people, you get into arguments with black people about that because they want to keep shit real. They want to keep shit authentic, which typically means keep it ratchet, keep it ghetto, keep it, no structure to it, structureless. We're anti-structure because structure equals the system of white supremacy. Right? We don't understand optics. And like talking about, I invited this woman here and you over, the shit that she was focusing on, it was just weird. It's like, and it's very typical of black women when you get into arguments with them, like this type of black woman, where like you're making a point, and because they can't argue the point, they go off into other areas about respect or who's respecting who, or whose tone is what, or you're yelling, or just completely ignoring all the shit that they're doing that completely pisses any normal person off, right? And that's where this mommying comes in, and this is why, like, I look at black women sideways when they talk all this, oh, we love black men, we want to be with black men, we want to date black men, we only prefer black men, we're loyal, but you don't have any respect. You have no respect. And to men, as we all know, the number one thing for men is to be respected. And you all have demonstrated that you don't respect black men, even on a basic level. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about the situation, because it's like, in one breath, we'll see what looks like respect when it comes to the street dudes and the shit that you say, that the guys that do all the dirty stuff to you, because those are the guys that you're fucking with. And then you got guys that aren't that, right? And you don't even give them any respect. You know what I mean? Like you try to treat them like a nigga that did you wrong just because he's a black man. That's another reason why you fuck. It goes back to I Am Eloho. I treat men with money and men without money, I treat them the same. No man with money wants to be treated the same as a man that doesn't have money. You got to be able to recognize that those are two different people. It's like when talking to black women, there's when it comes to, a woman who is childless, you can't come to her with the same type of energy that you would come to, a single mother. And when I say single mother, I'm not talking about like single mother, like you just go out there to attack single mothers. No, I'm talking about there's a different conversation to be had with a black woman who's filing grievances and she's childless versus a black woman who's filing grievances and she's a single mother. Like, chick, you already had your time on the dance floor. You know what I mean? Like freaking Indiana Jones and the freaking Holy Grail, you chose poorly. You know what I mean? Or he chose poorly, right? But I'm sorry, this shit is delicious. But I'm saying I don't know what else can be said that we don't like this behavior. I think at this point, all black men can do is just simply walk away. Okay, this is what you're dealing with. This is a significant portion of the community. Some of y'all can't walk away. Some of y'all are dedicated to black women and the black community, and you're most comfortable in that space. You know, my attitude is, you know, if you can't find, you know, relationships elsewhere, you know, then, you know, you should, you know, get into being alone, even though Captain Solo warns and says that, you know, that's not necessarily the path that you want to go down. But, you know, I mean, I have my days where I just look at the black community and I'm just like, yo, this shit is done. Like, this shit is just, it's just done. I mean, between, you know, the violence in the streets, Ray Ray and Pookie, you know, the young boys that have no guidance. And then, you know, by the time they get to a certain age, you know, and then and on top of that, there's no resources for them. There's no opportunities for them. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be the ones that'll crack you over the head. Right. And then you got belligerent single mothers. You got their out of control sons. You got, you know, young black women who can't seem to control their reproduction. Right. Then you got all the other shit going on with trying to tackle white supremacy and the way that they keep fucking with us. Right. And it's like there's nobody with any damn sense, you know, like, and especially, you know, as a millennial, you know, it's like, goddamn, you know, the boomers, they're dying. The handful of boomers that actually had wisdom, you know, they're about to be gone, right? You know, like our, you know, Dr. Claude Andersons, right? Then you got the Gen Xers, and the Gen Xers are a hot damn mess. There's no real leadership within the Gen Xers. Like, you gotta recognize that in the Gen X population, you know, some of our more prominent leaders at best would be like somebody like Tariq Nasheed. You know what I'm saying? At best. You know, and then you got other like obscure, like, I don't know, people in academia that like are in the shadows and nobody talks about, and they're not the people being interviewed, and they're not the people, you know, you got to go, you know, dig, you know, in the library or Amazon, you know, in order to find some book about that they wrote 15 years ago about the development of black boys or something like that nobody talks about. You know, they're not visible. Like, it's like Amos Wilson. Like, I didn't come across Amos Wilson until after he was dead. A lot of those interviews that you see that are posted by Amos Wilson, by, you know, Mr. Hollopsism's crew, you know, if those guys didn't post those things, I wouldn't know about who Amos Wilson was. They didn't post him, you know, online. You see? So I'm just saying, when you look around, you know, the Gen Z is lost, and you can't blame them, because they've really had no guidance. Then they've had, you know, no real, you know, stable economy. You had the damn, you know, financial crisis. Then you had, you know, COVID, right? The millennials got double whammied, right? They had the financial crisis, and then they had COVID. It's fucked up. But it just, I don't know. I just look at it, and maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'll come back to this subject, or come back to talking about it, the video. But I'm not surprised. There's nothing in it that surprised me. That is typical mommying. It is typical black female behavior. It is everything that black women come online and try to deny and say that you hate women, you're a misogynistic, or you're colorist, right? To try to deflect away from this, you know, egregious bad behavior that was on full display in the video. I mean, just completely just the dismissiveness, won't let people finish their own thought. try to derail the conversation and make it about something that is not. Are you married? Are you married? Who are you with? Brother, I need to know. Yeah, I need you to bendeth thy knee and answer my question before we move forward. That's what that was about. That wasn't about the act, whether him being in a relationship is irrelevant. And I know what she didn't like was the idea that, again, she has been fornicating her whole life. And he said, oh, well, the problem is all this sex before marriage. No, the problem isn't sex before marriage. The problem is people aren't being sexually responsible. This isn't like ancient times. It's not like, oh, you have sex with her and she has to have a baby. Like, get the fuck out of here. Use condoms. Use birth control. That's what the conversation needs to be about. You know, people, it's modern times. People are going to have sex. They're having sex. I don't know why everybody has to be so sexually immature and delusional about that. People have sex. That's not the issue. The issue is bringing life forth into the world when you're not prepared for it. That's where the problem lies. You know, again, I can't stand these people that try to like, black people really cannot think for themselves. They literally think, oh, I must invoke this white Jesus Bible in order to make sense of the world. And this somehow gives me authority and I can speak on it. When already a lot of black people are walking away from religion because of the hypocrisy in religion. They're walking away from it. I'm sitting there thinking I put the shit on pause. I'm sitting there munching my face off. But no, they're walking away from it. The religious people will tell you, oh, the reason why is Western civilization is collapsing is because everybody walked away from Christianity. No, it's collapsing because nobody ain't got no goddamn money. That's why it's collapsing. Primarily men. That's why it's collapsing. Because this society decided it wanted to fuck with the dials and fuck with the gender roles and do all that stuff. And now nobody's happy. You know, man, again, there ain't no opportunities in the black community, because if there were, you wouldn't see everybody. We wouldn't have as many shills, and we wouldn't have as many freaking sellouts and people that are willing to throw black people underneath the bus and all these grifters. Right? When you see a rise of grifters, it's because the economy is fucked up. Because otherwise they would be doing other things. You know, especially educated people. When you see educated people doing other things, that lets you know that the economy is fucked up. And you sit there and you see somebody and they got degrees and shit like that, and then all of a sudden they become a pundit. All of a sudden they're talking. People think they try to use their credentials in an area that has nothing to do with what they're talking about, as though that somehow gives them some sort of significance or authority. It's just a bunch of nonsense. No, the reason you're here is because the economy is fucked up and you're trying to get the bag. You know, it's just fucked up. Just looking at the whole thing, looking at just how normalized, you know, her behavior is. Just how, and this is why I hate those type of like phrases. You know what I mean? Like, I hate the condescending tone, the mommying, you know, the calling me baby. Like, bitch, you don't know me. You don't be calling me baby. What should happen is, like, motherfuckers should just walked off the stage. All that back and forth, all that, and I gotta give props to Young Jock, because Young Jock tried to, like, calm her down. Like, look, people ain't gonna understand if all this back and forth and everything. Like, chill. She didn't even take that as a hint. She just kept going. It's my show. I'm a big dog. I'm a big dog. You know, just disgusting, insufferable. You know, and I hate to sit there and pin that on, you know, black women as a collective, but that is your representation. Just like as a black man, a black man's representation is the streets. Okay? Future is way more visible than a brother like me. Way more visible. With 8 baby mamas or whatever the hell he got. That's way more visible than me. You know, and women like Tezlyn is way more visible, the loudest one in the room. That's who you're going to see on Atlanta Housewives and all of the type of nonsense. They're going to be on TV. I remember when Kerrison ran around, she was like, and the reason why white men won't date black women is because of all the terrible things black men are saying about black women online. No. No, it's because of bitches like Tezlyn. They see that shit just like we see that shit. And they say, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Hell, they don't even like dating Latinas because of that shit. You know, that fucking mira coño type of shit. They don't want to die. They're like, I ain't dealing with all that attitude. The only difference is Latinas know when to back down. They know when they're out of line. You know, they know when to let go of the steering wheel or not to grab the steering wheel. It's like a black woman, it's like you're going down the highway at 80 miles an hour and you arguing with a black woman, she will actually grab the steering wheel while you're going down the highway at 80 miles an hour. The Latina woman, she ain't gonna grab the steering wheel. She gonna argue with you. She gonna be all up in your ears. It's gonna be annoying, an annoying ass ride. But she ain't gonna grab that steering, not while you driving at 80 miles an hour. You know, there's some key differences. Black women take shit way too far. They take it too far. I don't care what anybody says. Y'all take it too far. You cannot show me any other clip of any other racial woman acting and behaving like Tezlyn did during that interview. You won't show me. And y'all think that shit is empowering. You think that shit, makes y'all look good. Y'all think that shit makes black women look unique. Yeah. It makes them look unique, all right. Uniquely single. Uniquely alone. Uniquely unmarried. Uniquely with a whole bunch of kids out of wedlock. I wish that Cat Fu video was still up on my other channel. It'll be up eventually, but I'm saying, that whole Don Nicoleone interview, perfect example, of that type of behavior. Just a loud mouth, attitudinal, confrontational, disagreeable. You gotta have the last word in the room, trying to shame everybody. It's like, I'm like, where the hell has she been all this time? Like, where the hell was she at when Kevin Samuels was alive? I mean, it's like, did this woman not learn anything? I mean, I think at this point, like, most black women know of Kevin Samuels. And I don't know why y'all get mad at Kevin, because Kevin didn't force you to call those shows. You all called in those shows. You all called in those shows talking absolutely ridiculous stuff. And Kevin just asked you, simple questions. Why? Okay, you got 2 kids. Okay, why aren't you with your baby daddy? Oh, he wasn't this. He wasn't. Well, you chose him. Now you want somebody else to come in and take care of you and take care of the kids, and and you don't want to have to pay substantial bill. Like, get the fuck out of here. Where's all this delusion coming from? You know what I mean? And this flies in the face of all the, feminist, we're going to the moon and back rhetoric that you get out of the Democratic Party that black women subscribe to. It's like there's what black women actually are versus like where black women are actually trying to be. And they don't, and again, like, black men are just supposed to be like ad lib to the song. Like, we're not supposed to have opinions. We're not supposed to invoke our own standards, right? We're just supposed to, whenever a black woman wants to just place us on her chessboard, we're just supposed to like move there. There's multiple reasons why a lot of black men are, disheartened with black women and why they're walking away from black women. It's not just one thing. It's not just, it's the way they look. It's colorism. It's dark skin. It's nappy hair. It's, no. It's primarily the behavior. That is what it is. That is one constant. And again, it's on full display. Full display. And I don't know. I kind of I'm kind of calm, looking at the situation, because it being on display like that makes it's almost like when I talk about white supremacy. That's why I loved when Jared Taylor was like, when he's talking on that bullshit about meritocracy, and then he slipped up and was like, who wants to give up power? I'm like, oh, you want to maintain power. So why are we talking about a meritocracy? And when it comes to these women and they have these bad attitudes and they're going up there, and I'm like, oh yeah, keep talking, chick, keep talking. Keep talking. Expose yourself. Because that's exactly what she did. She exposed exactly what brothers don't want. That shit is insane. Who would want to wake up to that every day and deal with that? Every time you're trying to have a conversation, every time you're trying to explain that the whole demeanor of her belief that she's the smartest person in the room, and can't be swayed. And she knows all that there is to know. Yeah, I'm just, oh, God, I couldn't deal with that shit. Couldn't deal with that shit. And it's not all black women that act like that, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Don't sit here and pretend like it's a lot, because many of you all know and have girlfriends and family members that are just like that, and you can't stand them. Y'all can say what you want. Even Kerosene don't really fuck with her own mother. That came out of her own mouth. Because her mother used to, badger her and put her down when she was younger. That's probably where a lot of her insecurities come from. So, and the crazy thing is, from all the videos I've seen online, Kerosene's own daughter don't really fuck with her like that. So, a lot of y'all, one of the main problems is a lot of black women don't have any introspection. They don't recognize, they don't stop and look at themselves and say, is there a problem? Am I a problem? How am I contributing to this? What am I doing wrong? And a lot of that introspection, in my belief, is prevented because of the fact that so much of that strong, independent, black, resilient black woman, nonsense is tied to black women's concept of their own personal identity. Like that is their identity, and they can't give that up. What is this? Can't think of what frame this is. Yeah, they can't give that up. This is one of the reasons why getting with a man that has himself together and all that, if you look at black women's whole concept of their own identity, it's rooted in being the strong, independent black woman. It's rooted in being, the holding it down, having, resources and everything. And if they were to come across, like, you've been preparing for war your entire life, and then you come across a situation where you no longer have to war, right? Or you believed that you had to go to war, and then all of a sudden, it reminds me that, you ever see Jarhead? Jarhead was, I know women probably haven't seen it, but Jarhead was a movie that was about, kind of like the psychological shit soldiers go through when they're in the war. And it was about a guy that was in Iraq. And there's a scene in Jarhead where the guy is about to take out a general. Like, he's got the sniper set up, him and his spotter. They're like, they've been waiting out, in the bushes or whatever. I think they're kind of like in a tower, and they're looking at a person that they're going to take out. And the guy has the shot, and he's like, do you have visual confirmation? And he's like, basically, yeah. And I seen the movie like a while ago, so I'm just paraphrasing. But anyway, he's like, yeah, we have confirmation. We see him. We have eyes on the target, yada, yada, yada. And then basically the general, just like the black dude, he kicks in the door, and he's like, nope, stand down. We are going to call in an airstrike. Don't take the shot. And the guy's like, I have the shot. Let me take the shot. And he's like, nope. He's like, soldiers, stand down. And they call in the airstrike and basically, kill the target. But like he had to literally be physically restrained because he wanted to take the shot so bad. And that's what I see with black women. I see them like that soldier in Jarhead that had been preparing for this moment as a sniper, right? Wanted to take the shot and then was told at the last minute, at the 11th hour, you can't take that shot. And they don't know what to do with themselves when they get to that point. Their whole identity is tied up in the concept of, them taking that shot, them being mama matriarch. And again, like I said, like, when the black woman has a son, and I'm like, you got all these matriarchal beliefs, and then you're like questioning why your sons go off and get with white women. What space would he fulfill? If you've prepared yourself to have to handle everything and cover everything because you believe that no black man is ever going to be there, if you have a son, right? Let's say that is the situation for you and you had to hold it down and you raised your son, right? How would your son get with the matriarchy? Like, in other words, even if you had to be that way, let's just say the dad was a piece of shit. He pumped you up full of baby and he rolled the fuck out. And you had to be the strong, independent black woman and hold it down. Let's just say you had to be. Okay? Your son has nothing to do with that. Now, why is it you all think that your son's supposed to get with some sort of matriarchal dynamic? In other words, how do you turn a situation of necessity into a situation of cultural continuity? Right? Like, how do you, I'm trying to figure out where does this click over? Right? To where you start thinking and the man's supposed to, get with the woman's program and the matriarchy and he's supposed to, and he's not running anything. What made him think that he's supposed to run anything? We don't do patriarchy over here in the black community, right? We don't do patriarchy over here, right? And you'll say, well, where does he get the idea if he didn't grow up in a patriarchal environment? From every other community out there in the world. Again, the rewards, he can see that. He sees it on TV, sees it in entertainment. He sees it with his friends, that typically will come from patriarchal homes if he even interacts with non-black people. That's what he's going to see. The whole rest of the world, patriarchal. And then you want your son to operate, in some sort of matriarchy. And if he gets stuck there, all he's going to be is angry. He's going to be angry at you. He's going to be angry at other black women. He's going to be angry because there's no opportunities for him to even be a damn patriarch. And then you get the black women that come on my page and they try to make arguments like, oh, that's because that's a black male failure because black men are failing, blah, 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 right? But you want there to be a matriarchy. You completely ignore, what his goals and aspirations are, what he wants out of life. You've provided none of the tools for him to be able to reach that point so that he can be, a patriarch, on top of the fact that you don't support the idea of him functioning as a patriarch. You don't support that idea. Right? And so, he's just aloof. And the only semblance of patriarchy that he's going to come across is going to be from other women from other racial groups that are going to expect him to play the role, that he wants to play, that comes with a whole reward system, that he's been, groomed for. So in other words, and when I say groomed for, because of, TV entertainment and all that other shit. So in other words, while you were prepared for sniper school, right? And, if somebody busts in the room and says you can't do this, you have a loss of sense of self, right? He, right, due to all the cues of society, he's preparing for the idea of, being a patriarch. That's his fantasy. I want to make money and then get the girl and ride off into the sunset, right? And then here black women come, like the sergeant that kicked in the door in Jarhead. Here they come busting in the room, saying no, it's matriarchy over here. And the thing is you know why it's such a shock when it comes to black men, when it comes to the whole idea of the matriarchy? Because of the double talk in the community. Because you all say and act like you want a lot of these problems in the community to be fixed, but you really don't, because it would change the power dynamics between black men and black women. What you want black men to do is come in and fix the problems that you immediately identify, and then you want them to like freaking, power down and go back in the closet until the next time that you need them. Right? And it's very confusing, because what the men are looking for is like, oh, so if I do all this, I'm going to get the respect, I'm going to get the adoration, I'm going to get, a cooperative and a submissive group of women. I'm not going to get Tezlyn. And that's what throws everything off. And that's why you have all these problems, that exist in these damn relationships. I mean, her behavior was egregious. That shit was egregious. But I definitely think that there is a cultural miscommunication. I said it before. I said it a long time ago, that black men and black women have two different cultures. And a lot of you are not paying attention. You're assuming too much. You're assuming that your sons are going to get with the matriarchy. I don't even think many of you all have actually sat down. What do you expect for your son? Some of you all expect your son to go off and, if I actually forced you into a conversation, you would say that you want your son to operate in some sort of egalitarian relationship with some other black woman. That's what you all would say. That's what I would suspect you all to say. You know what I mean? But then it's how would that work? Because most of y'all talk about sprinkle and women being taken care of and everything. So it's like for your son, you say that you want him to enter a relationship of equality, but then when it comes to women, you say sprinkle. I'm like, well, how is he supposed to enter a relationship of equality, and then you're running around saying sprinkle? How does that work? How does that work? But you all don't really flesh it out. I don't think you think about it, how this is supposed to work. And I think you say equality for the, to the men, because you don't want to say, you don't want to accidentally say or slip into the idea that he's going to be a patriarch, that he's going to, be in control and call the shots. You don't want to accidentally throw that on the table. So you kind of softball them and you tell them, oh, it's going to be a situation of equality and it's fair and just and righteous. And you and the woman and both of you are equal and you're equal human beings. Hey, that sounds all good. But then you go over to the girls, and, it's either, sprinkle, or you get the, you must hold it down and be mama matriarch and all this other stuff that you're preparing them for. Even though low key, even with the sprinkle stuff, some of y'all, it's like double talk. You'll say sprinkle at the same time. You'll say, but make sure, you got your reserve parachute, girl. Make sure you're never relying on none of these niggas. But if you can get a nigga that provides and pays for everything, yeah, y'all do that. And it's like, God damn, yeah, so a lot of people are having they're not being fully honest when they have these conversations about what they want and what the real expectations are of the other party. But anyway, I'm done with this video. This video's long enough. That's my video, SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. Maybe I'll talk about this some more and flesh it out. But yeah, there's a definite cultural disconnect. Anyway, that's my video, SWP out.